Mic check. Yeah, we could. Mic check. Good morning. FOMC Friday. Not a bad week overall. Pretty interesting week so far. It's 10 o'clock. See this pretty aggressive move lower, and I'm starting to like more downside. Yeah, I'm starting to like more downside here. Do, 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 do. Really aiming for this 4 hour low. You can see price pretty much give you a really decent SMT at the high. I'm looking for this 4 hour low here. I like how price is pretty fast towards these lows. So let's see if we can get like a pullback to go lower. Looking at the 30-minute chart, right? You see how this overnight bearish gap right here is holding up. See if price can offer some sort of displacement lower. You're going to get that displacement, looks like, potentially on ES, where you get that bearish gap that we could look for a pullback to go lower. Not really bullish. Like I mentioned, going into FOMC, right? I wanted to see price push higher, but price had been going higher for a long time leading into FOMC, right? So all of November, price was going higher. We get the rate cut on December 10th right here. This was a rate cut day. You see price attempt to go higher and fail, attempt to go higher again and fail. Personally, I think now is where we start to see the decline. Usually, you know, they always say buy the rumor, right? When you hear the rumors of they're going to cut rates, the market's going to rise. And then once the market officially cuts rates, you're going to see it go the opposite way. Sell the news. So that means after the news event, start looking for sales. Before the news event, when the rumors are sparked, look for buys. And that's exactly the profile that's pretty much on the table. We're still inside of that FOMC profile, right? So I think we still have a long ways to go for lower. Um, Turn on my indicators. It's not really much happening right now that I can take place in, that I could take part of, sorry. If price ends up running through this low before we can, even get it fed up, then you could possibly look for the buy back up, but I think we're gonna get some sort of pullback eventually. See what the 5 minute looks like. Really nice break from this gap. Let's see if we get some manipulation back up into it. Nice. Look at that pressure, yo. I wish I might. I don't know, bro. I wish I could short that somehow, some way, right? That was really nice. That was really nice. So now that we're pushing back into this 4 hour level, that was really nice. Like, how do you even get involved with this 950 macro? Maybe, but there's no real sweep, right? You just get pure rejection. So really nice. All right, so now that price is jamming into this level really fast, I want to know, how does price respond here, right? So we have these two areas here. So one thing I have to start incorporating more in my analysis is the candles on the 4 hour that are like breaking through other candles, bro. Because the more I look at it, the 4 hour chart is really controlling almost every single move, right? So if we're watching this level right here, we don't want to see price get too comfortable below here. Otherwise, I like lower, right? Just think about these candles, right? If you're looking, if I clean this up here, if you're looking around and you're like, all right, we have this up close candle here, right? I don't want to see price get too comfortable underneath here, or I should expect lower for this 4 hour candle, right? So imagine trying to buy inside of this 4 hour candle here. You're going to lose because price showed it wanted underneath here. You wait. All right, cool. Now that we have this candle printed, I'm like, all right, if we're bearish, I don't want to see price get comfortable above here. And what happens? Price gets way up in here. You're saving yourself from trying to short in the wrong conditions. Some of these candles aren't really tradable. Like you see how we have this bearish move. I want to start looking for shorts up in this area here. Like, and for those who are in the coaching strategies, we're gonna go over this over the weekend. It's just really helpful when it comes to just a certain profile. Like if we're bearish, we're gonna hold this upper wick of this 4 hour candle, and you're gonna see price begin to pretty much go lower. But the first sign that price wasn't gonna go lower was closing through this open price on the 4 hour. So now if I look at this candle, I'm like, all right, if I'm bullish, I want to be looking for buys down here off of this candle because we broke through this high. Next candle, I want to be looking for buys down in here. But once we break this low, I can go to the lower time frame and start looking for reasons for short. And what do you know? This is the same area price just shorted from, right? So it's a very simple way to gauge which 4 hour candles you should look for trades off of. Like, this is a perfect example. If I'm bullish, I want to be looking down in this area to see how price responds. Because if we get too comfortable underneath here, I'm going to look for shorts. And as you can see, we're getting nice rejection off that level. We're getting SMT off of that level. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start looking for reasons to get involved. We have this candle right here. What happens on this 4 hour candle? We close through this candle here. All right, with this closure, I want to know if I can short from up here. Price isn't interacting there yet, so no reason for me to look for shorts unless I can get a play off of this area. So that's the game I'm going to be playing. And then everything else stays the same. I want to see the same. I want to see the same profile. SMT up in this area. 5-minute entry model in this area for shorts. And then when I look over here, I'm like, all right, ES is in no man's land, right? I don't really see much I can work with off of ES based on the 4 hour, unless you want to play this fair value gap, you know? So I'm hoping that, yeah, so we closed through here. We got this high opening price, and then you got the absolute high of that 4 hour candle. You want to see price show rejection inside of here. Similar to like this candle here, right? If we pay attention to this candle here, where we closed through the previous 4 hour candle, I want to use this area right here to show me that, okay, price wants to go lower. If you were trading this morning, you go to like the 15-minute chart or so. What time did that candle close? This candle closed right here at 6 a.m. So you go to 6 a.m. and you say, all right, I want to know if we're bearish. Let's see if we can get back in this area after 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is here. Price pushes right back to your area of interest. Turn on your EMA, turn on your indicator, and you see price slam off of this gray area, get back under that EMA on a 15-minute chart. You can try that short. Like, that's a very reasonable short. And then you're going on the 4-hour and you're saying, all right, if we're respecting this level here, there really isn't much stopping price from going lower. So you just take your 1R, call it a day. If you want to be very, very logical, you could be like, all right, if we're truly bearish, what else is down here besides this 4-hour gap? You got this wick right here. You got a ton of liquidity below. This will be way too aggressive, right? You know, I don't take those major trades like that. The 1-to-1 is perfectly fine for me. But I'm interested to see how we close this. Let's go down to the 15-minute, right? And let's see how price responds off of these 4-hour levels here. These two. This is the opening price. All right, let's double check. Yeah. So this is the opening price, 10 a.m. open, and then you have the absolute low for that candle. I want to know how price responds here. Notice the EMA is really far away, so price is probably going to end up breaking through here. A breakthrough here, a strong closure through here is really good for lower. And then 30-minute chart. This is going to close in 13 minutes. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to let this candle close. I'm hoping we see a nice wick off of this area because we're getting SMT and we could potentially retest this area that hasn't been retested, right? You see how we closed through this 4-hour candle previously. We haven't retested the upper half of that 4-hour candle yet. So this could be the play, right? Where we get a bounce here, push back into here, go lower. Same thing over here. You get the bounce, push back into here, go lower. I potentially would want to look for a buy, being like I said, that if we can maintain this low right here, that's telling me that price is going to try and push higher. And then we'll get that 30-minute SMT, right? And then I can pull up my timestamps here and I can start looking for price to maybe get back above this midnight 2 a.m. level here. This will be a wall, right? That if price can give us SMT, get back above it, we know that we could target this high right here or this area in here. Quick scalp. And then maybe if price is fast enough, you know, get the short. But it is a Friday, so we're chilling. Super chill Friday. Get our minds ready for next week. FOMC, like I said, finally over with. Finally over with. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a good week. My week started off pretty choppy, but after FOMC, I felt really good about the trades I was able to put together. Nice. So yeah, let's see what happens today. was the free fall confirmation. I don't know if we're actually gonna get a trade today, bro. This is like, this is crazy, bro. And where's ES gonna go? ES is gonna go and catch up, right? ES was in La La Land, floating in nowhere. We're waiting for this 30-minute closure, and it just keeps reaching. I would say continue to look for shorts until ES can break this level as well. Nasdaq has confirmed that it wants lower. Beautiful, beautiful move. The weird thing about this move is there's no wick. There's no wick higher. So that's telling me that we're probably going to see a decent bounce once this candle closes. But this 4-hour candle doesn't close until 3:30. I'm sorry, 3 hours and 30 minutes. So that'll be around 2 o'clock. So we could see a bunch of downside until 2 p.m. Come on, shorty, like volume is spectacular, but it's like it's bleeding too fast. I would have loved to retest this area. Here goes. Actually, you know what? We're about to close here. So what I'm going to look for is any interaction from this level here. I'll look to see if I can play a short. All right, we're closing through here with a nice 15-minute candle. Nice. So essentially, price should push back into this area here. This is also previous session lows, Asia low, previous daily low, right? We should get a retest of this area. We get a nice, we can get this EMA to squeeze down a little bit, right? And price push back into here and show weakness. I'll try that short back to like the previous weekly low here. See if we can take advantage of this bearish pressure. So cool. So you see how it pretty much aligns perfectly with my regular approach where we see 30-minute SMT, bearish SMT at the high. All right, let's see if that was a bearish SMT. Nope, actually there is no bearish SMT. This candle just dumps. So the bullish SMT is going to be the profile. All right, so we get a bullish SMT, meaning that, all right, if price is going to go bullish, it's going to have to break through this this level here, which we already have highlighted. So if price is bullish, you're going to see climb back above here and show that strength. All right, but we have, like I mentioned before, this midnight level right here. Definitely midnight from yesterday, essentially. We fell below midnight from the day before. I would assume that price is just bearish, right? So if I'm buying it, I'm not holding it long. I'm looking to buy maybe to here for a potential sell-off lower. Those are the two scenarios I can see now where price pushes up into this 4-hour zone here, fails, or price breaks it and tries to go a little higher before failing. All right, let's turn on these levels here on ES. And let's see what price is doing here. All right, there we go. Really nice push back up into it. I want to see what we have here. We got this 930 open price from yesterday that seems to be randomly in the way here. So let's see if price wants to respect this, something like this, to continue back to test this level here. Shorts were super clean. It's almost like when the bias is super clean, it's like lately I haven't been able to get in. It just runs away. And then the weird muddy setups, they take forever. They try their, they try their hardest to try and shake you out before the real move happens when the setup is kind of muddy. But I think if we can get a decent retest of these areas, we'll be able to catch a trade. All right, cool. So how I'm looking at this right now is, all right, where are we jabbing into? You see how this 4 hour candle right here offered a beautiful strong closure through the previous candle. So you mark off the opening price and then the low of this candle, and you want to see if there's really still any strength left in here. If not, then you'll probably end up working off of the previous candle that offered a break, which would be here. If I'm looking at ES, notice ES is still offering a SMT here, right? So this is why I'm like, all right, let me make sure that price really wants lower. It looks like it will want lower because we haven't really retested this area yet. So far, I would say we're just sitting in la la land. Let's go to daily chart. But we're in this daily candle that offered the same profile. Let's check the NASDAQ here. So if I'm on a daily chart, maybe I would look for a 30-minute closure through that daily level. Let's see, daily, 30-minute or hourly. I would say hourly. So yeah, if this candle ends up wicking back higher, this is gonna be a very, very bullish reaction. The thing that catches my attention is why is ES just so far behind here? And then we already know what happens in the first hour or so of the 10 a.m. candle. You typically get that manipulation, and then you get this candle here with no wick on the 4 hour chart. It just completely bleeds lower. Now it's starting to, raise some red flags. I was anticipating ES to get down in here and then offer a continuation potentially. But now I'm like, okay, this hourly candle closes in 20 minutes. We have this daily low right here at, let's mark it off. Daily low at 25,381. If I go to the hourly, 25,381. Yeah, I would want to see if price can close back above here. 30-minute offered the closure. And then we're going to get this 15-minute bearish gap right here. I'm going to be watching this very closely. Going to be watching this very closely. Nice. So I really want to see this 15-minute gap right here form. The weird part is, like I said before, why is ES just stopping in the middle of nowhere? I would want to see this level down here hit. So I think lower is right, but like you have to consider that there's no wick up above. So how far higher will price go before going lower? Cool. So here we go now. I want to know, all right, if we're able to get back above, we have the SMT at the low. So if we're bullish, you should be able to flip this area right here, right now. If we're bearish, this area is going to hold up. I love that the 5-minute EMA is sitting here snugging price right now. So this could be a good area to try that quick pullback for ES to go lower. And then who knows what happens at this level. Decent rejection so far. 15-minute chart giving you nice rejection also. Let's see, maybe try this short. Let's see how these candles start to close here. I like the rejection already. So let's see how these 5-minute candles start to print. I start using the 15-minute chart a little bit more also because you'll start to see, you start to see those wicks and those dojis on the 15-minute. The move typically happens after that. So that's another confluence that you could possibly use for rejection. Like let's say we see a 5-minute rejection. Like, it's going to take 3 5-minute candles, right? So let's say we see one regular 5-minute, and then we see 2 strong bearish 5-minute closures, and then we look at the 15-minute chart. We see a nice doji in that area. That's just another reason to be like, all right, maybe I should try to short right here. Try and add a little extra higher time frame confluence to my trading, just because like the 5-minute, I like the 5-minute. However, it is still the 5-minute chart, right? So maybe a 15-minute confirmation would help me hold my trades a little bit longer. We'll see, but I'm looking for my same 5-minute protocol, and then I'm hoping to see that the 15-minute agrees with my 5-minute confirmation. And if I look at the higher time frame for ES, I wonder if this level aligns with like a 4-hour. Nah, this is just random. Like we're just sitting in midair right now. The fair value gap, you can say that, oh, we're in a bullish fair value gap, but we've retraced very, very deeply into this bullish so-called fair value gap. Maybe we reject off of these, like I said, these open prices right here, which is fine. This is a beautiful level right here. We have all these levels right here that are holding. If price is bullish, like I said, this bounce will create a break through here, and then I'll look for a drive back into this high for a retest. However, if this level cannot break after tapping into here, it's going to be like ping pong, where this level proves that it's not strong enough to break, and I'm looking for a confirmation that this level still will hold, and then just try to short back down. No reason to really go bullish just yet. Crypto dumping as well. We're about to get a nice 5-minute confirmation. 15-minute candle will have 10 minutes left. A really nice rejection, man. Maybe even a 10-minute confirmation would be fine. 9 minutes left in that as well. I may take a stab at this because it just looks like it's super strong. We're going to wait for a closure as usual, but I think this might end up being confirmation here. Really nice rejection. I really hate when you get this rejection so early in the candle because now there's a good chance that it could go without me, or there's a good chance that this ends up being a wick. That's really trash either way, right? Oh, that sucks. 4 minute candle is giving you a beautiful rejection. I would use the 4 minute, but there's been too many times where I get in on a 4 minute engulfing type of reaction, and then the 5 minute candle, the last minute ends up just going the opposite way and turning into a wick. So if I miss it, I'll just miss it. But the plan is there, right? We can see what our draw is. Our draw is going to be this base right here, this 4 hour candle that created such beautiful push higher. Over on NASDAQ, that candle has been officially traded through and we're retesting it. Beautiful volume lower. Let's see what happens here. What price would this be? 68.59 would be a good entry price. And that would be 16 contracts, maybe 15, tighter stop here. 15 contracts totaling, 15 points totaling 6 micros. What's up with the 15-minute chart? Beautiful 15-minute rejection here. 10-minute candle. And then if we notice, there will be an 11 o'clock candle shortly. This 30-minute candle is beautifully rejecting right now. Beautiful. Like you could have put an order in this candle right here and just top tick. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful move here. Beautiful move. I don't think I'm gonna get it. Unless the next candle gives us a random drive higher. Selling pressure seems pretty strong today. Really nice. Wow. Makes you wonder maybe what kind of clues were left. Well, when we saw ES fail to fill this area, that was my clue that price would go lower. But rarely do you see price just tap and go like this lately. Lately it's just been very bad price action, but this is really clean. No games, no shenanigans, tap, dump, straight to your target. See what the 1 minute look like in that area. It's just pure rejection. No inversions offered, just pure rejection. That's beautiful. I wish every point of interest could offer a beautiful move right away. Still have 3 minutes left in this 15-minute candle here. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, the short was the bias. I was hoping for just a simple rejection and a closure, but the first 5 minute confirmation, it prints a 16 point sell candle. Like, what are the odds? And here goes the target. So now I'm just gonna go to the higher time frame and see how price responds once it gets down here. This could end up being a nice area for a flip. This area over here that I have highlighted served as really nice support before, and right now it's still holding up. So let's see if price wants to start to invert this gap here. If so, I'll start looking for higher to fill in this level that wasn't mitigated. There goes TP. Really nice. So wow, this is, bro. I think it's not gonna be easy to trade this unless I start putting limit orders at my specific areas and just hope that it goes my way. This thing just flushed 33 points straight down. What? Wow. This is the type of pressure I like though. This is trading, bro. This is trading. This will make you, confident to like, all right, I'll just put an order. I'll sit my order inside my area of interest just in case this happens, right? This is what you want to see. This is the type of delivery you want to see. There it is. This is, man, if we can get some price action like this for at least 2 or 3 weeks in a row, after a while, you're going to be like, all right, yeah, I like this as my target. Clean fair value gap. Let me go ahead and target that, right? So this candle's going to close. We're going to close under this level here. So let's go to 4 hour and we're going to start looking at continuation opportunities to go lower. This level right here is completely obliterated as we anticipated, right? Why was ES floating in the middle of La La Land? It was just giving you a chance to short it. All right, we close through here. We have this next 4 hour level here for ES. Now that we're stabbing into this area, I'm like, all right, maybe we do start seeing some relief here. And then this area right here where you see price was pretty bullish off of this 4 hour candle low here. Closes through this bearish candle, offers this rebalance slower. If we go to the 15-minute, you'll look to your left and you'll see, all right, how does price respond over here? We had literally one body closure underneath, and that was it. Price showed you it was not going any lower after that. So let's see if price wants to give us a similar 15-minute profile here where we are unable to close through. I would love to see if another 15-minute gap right here. I doubt if we actually get one, but I would love to see that. And this is going to open the door for higher. If we get a bearish gap here and we can absorb it, get through it, I'm going to buy that. Anticipating that we can rebalance back up to the first level, the same area of interest, because remember, there is no wicks on these candles up above. 10 a.m. opens drastically and dramatically lower. We might even get like a 5 minute gap here that we can watch for the flip. Good trade. And like I mentioned, the only reason I want to short was to rebalance this area. Now that you get that short, you want to pay attention to how price responds here, because we are in bullish territory. Yeah, look at this. All right, this is beautiful. Price closed above this down close candle here, and everything underneath this price was extremely bullish. So if you get any bullishness underneath here, you have to respect it. Have to respect it. And then same thing here. If we could start closing 15-minute candles underneath here and here, that's going to tell me ES wants lower. And then what would be the next level? We have pretty much nothing stopping price at this point. If you look, right, you have this up close candle, you have this up close candle. Yeah, this right here, this low right here would be my next idea. Close above there. This low right here served really nicely for a while. This is so bearish, bro. Wow. This is wild, man. I really, really wish I would have just tried the short there. If I'd known, like, there's no way for you to know that price is just gonna bleed like no tomorrow, man. Get out of here, bro. But hopefully, like I mentioned, hopefully this is the new norm. Hopefully the market is free to expand and deliver really nice trades, because we were stuck in this weird algorithm for like 2.5 weeks waiting on this rate cut decision. And then what do you know? The first 2 days after the rate cut, Thursday pumps up 90 points on ES. And then here look at Friday. Opens up and dumps 60 points right away. Like, this is beautiful. I'm just hoping that it can stay around, man. I like this area a lot. Notice we had this daily candle break this candle, right? And then this low right here was protected at one point. We tried to break it, push higher, push back to this level. The daily range is really nice over here. Nasdaq showing a little bit more aggression. Hourly chart. This just looks very bearish, man. So we get this 5 minute gap. Looks like we're probably actually going to get a 15-minute gap also. Close through here. Rejection there. Like I mentioned, right? The first thing that comes to mind is, all right, this bullish divergence is going to eventually start sending price higher. what areas are these prices leaving behind that could be of interest to us. This level right here, most importantly, this high up here, this 4-hour candle is massive, but we failed to retest up here, and there's no wick up here. So this is a major red flag area. Like, price is gonna start pushing higher due to this. All right, if we just zoom out and let's look around, let's see if we see something where we break a previous candle, like so. Here it is. We break a previous candle, break it again, close. I guess it doesn't have to happen here. It'll happen. You see what happened in the next 4-hour candle? This is probably gonna be the same profile. You have this bearish candle give you a beautiful sell signal. You want to see price retest the upper half of this 4-hour candle. It fails to do so. Instead, it just continues to dump, closes. But what happens on the next 4-hour candle? Pushes higher. You get a base off of this candle here, and you'll notice that price uses this low to go ahead and retest this level here. So this level does end up being hit eventually and broken through. So I think that's probably what we're going to get here. We might as well just continue to look for shorts for the next few hours, unless we get like a strong reaction down here. Let's just look. Okay, there we go. Nice wicks. Previous weekly low, previous daily low, 4-hour areas, 5-minute chart, 5-minute bearish gap. All you want to know is, how does price respond inside of this bearish gap? If we can feel it, right? So we have massive SMT. We have these 4-hour price points in between, holding price down, giving us that SMT. If price is bullish, we will begin to see price climb back above these 4-hour levels. But if you look closely, NASDAQ is pretty much out of range. Like, I don't see, if I'm just trading my simple 4-hour profile, all the 4-hour prices are up here. And we're way below those levels, right? NASDAQ very bearish actually. And then over here we got a few levels that could come into play. All right, you got this midnight, you got this 2 a.m., you got this 10 a.m. So if price can get the strength to just climb back above these, flip that EMA, then I know exactly where price is likely to go. Maybe retest this 930 before rejecting, or weekly open before rejecting, and then eventually this high here. All right, cool. So the next profile for me would be we're taking out this Asia low from Wednesday. How does price respond here? If we start closing underneath this 4 hour base right here, similar to what we saw here, right? We broke this one, showed no sign of going higher. I can't really be looking for shorts at this point now, right? There's no point. So just like what we talked about earlier, with this major imbalance left above, price could probably end up shorting until 2 p.m. But we know that there will be at least some sort of relief more than likely. So how do I play it? I'm looking at these 4 hour bases where price offered a strong 4 hour closure. And this wick area here, as you can see, should hold up, has held up many different times. And if we can get that same type of reaction, let's actually go back and look at how the 15-minute chart and the 5-minute chart put together these moves out of these areas. Because that's what I want to be looking for here, right? First, you get a nice wick into the area, 15-minute inversion. Boom. Price inverts that. But look how long it took for this to happen. This wick was at 10 p.m. It didn't happen until the next 4 hour candle. You get that inversion, and then there goes your run higher. Price uses the same inversion level to give you a ton of points. Next setup was here. You get a nice wick rejection. What else? Do you notice another inversion? How long does it take for price to invert? It takes forever. So maybe I need to see a 5-minute profile. No 15-minute inversion until you see this right here. But look how long that takes. Inversion happens in Asia. And that right there is not where I will be trading. Let's check the 5-minute. 5-minute profile here starts with a 5-minute inversion. You get a small 5-minute inversion. 5-minute inversion holds up pretty well, but price doesn't go anywhere until 2 4 hour candles later, 8 hours later. And then similar setup here. Okay, nice. You get a beautiful 5-minute rejection. 5-minute inversion inside a New York session gives you a beautiful bottom. Same thing here, New York session. 5-minute inversion gives you another bottom. So if you were to buy it, let's say right after that inversion, stop below that low. This is a massive stop. Stop back in that zone, maybe. You catch maybe 1 hour before the market closes. It's tough because you have to have a massive stop loss. And look at the market. It's going to make you make sure you have a massive stop loss. Unless you get in right away on this inversion with a tight stop and just give it a chance to take off. That's probably the best way to play it. If it stops you out, who cares? But you don't want to give a 20-point stop knowing that the market's not probably going to give you a nice strong move enough to make any profit before the market closes. Similar to this move here, if you get in right on this inversion, you get stopped out, but then you get right back in after it stops you out. Let's say you go with like a 10-point stop here to try to catch 10 points. Stops you out, and then the moment it stops you out, it goes right back up. Get right back in. Same stop, maybe 11 points this time. And there goes your trade. Stop back in that zone. Yeah, so trading, like at this point, we see a good setup. You got to try to pick a stop. Like if I were to trade this and I see this inversion, but what do I notice also? The EMA is slamming price. I probably wouldn't have bought that inversion. Let's check the other ones. So yeah, the ones that work out pretty well, price closed through that EMA, stop below there, boom. So with this setup, I would just say wait for price to get above that EMA. And then there you go. You see this massive candle. Hope for a pullback. I don't know. It's crazy. You see how it's just rejecting as if it's so bearish. But then the first break is 14-point candle. Like, get out of here, bro. I hate stuff like that because it kind of ruins your entry setup right now. Where do I want to get in? Do I want to wait for a pullback? I have no choice. maybe just get in off the EMA. You just got to be creative with these entries, bro. 9 times out of 10, I probably would just buy it, anticipating price would go higher, put my stop below that low, 15 points, and just look for 15 points. This will be my trade. But maybe set a limit order inside of this candle just to give yourself a better entry price, knowing that it'll pull back, stop below that candle, below the EMA, something like that. And then there was one more, right? I thought it was 3 of these. Okay, yeah, the third one would have been here. You get in this inversion, wait for the EMA to break, buy it off the EMA. But as you see, this is overnight price action, so it's trash. Still catch a nice trade though with a 12-point stop. So that's what I'm looking for here. Long story short, we have the 5-minute profile. We have the 5-minute gap sitting up here. We have the area of interest. Let's see if price can break that gap. I'll be looking for a buy. Short stream today is Friday, so I'll be on until 12:30 max. And let's see if we get some speed higher. If not, no big deal. Getting ready for next week. And as I mentioned, I will be using these 4-hour levels much more because it just makes it easier to pick your draw and liquidity. My draw is going to be these 4-hour levels compared to like daily levels and previous session levels. I don't really care for those previous session levels. I would rather use the 4-hour basis because those pretty much set up the move every single time. All right, here we go. So I am going to try this buy here. I want to know, can we go ahead and push back towards how many points will this be? First of all, 20-point stop, 6 micro. I'll be 3 micros. I'll probably go 15 just so I can do six micros here. And I want to know, can we push back towards, yeah, I got to get in before it takes to take off. Push back towards this 10 a.m. price. All right, yeah, I'm just going to jump in here. Micros, 12 o'clock, 68.31. Six micros on the buy, 68.31. 16 points on the stop, 16 points on the take profit. And there goes some alerts going off that I have set. And this is a very, very mediocre target. But as I said, 1-to-1 is typically fine with me. I think price has a lot more upside on the table. If you look at NASDAQ, we have, if we're looking at just current session targets, there's a ton. We could push back into the previous session lows right here. So something like this would be 129 points. We have the 10 a.m. level here. But when I'm looking at ES, I know that we rejected off of here. We blew right through this level. So this level probably won't even matter. However, we are going to push into a fair value gap that's sitting right in this area. So price can reject from this area. And then because price is so bearish, you don't want to be greedy here. Although if I were truly thinking that the volume is still going to stay on the table, I would say price should push all the way back up to 10 a.m. open, or at least retest this previous high right here. So maybe realistically this would be a good target. But for me, I'll just sit back and see if we can get that pressure higher for at least 20 points or so. All right, cool. So yeah, 20-point stop. Ooh, like $600 there. So this would be 5 micros. If you want 516, boom, boom, boom. All right, yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I like how price flips. So if I go back to the setup here, we flip back above these previous session lows that are in this area. And then on top of that, we get the EMA support along with this 4-hour level holding up. So it's a more early entry, right? But I'm using these 4-hour point of interest areas to draw up this idea. As long as this level right here holds, we should continue to climb higher. And as I mentioned, there really isn't much stopping price from going higher. But I don't want to get too greedy in such a bearish market today. It's 12 o'clock. What I would probably say is once price hits 1-to-1, you could go break even and target this high. This high right here gets my attention because we respected this level here. Also, this level right here gets my attention. So this is probably the best target. Yeah, 23 points. You see how this area right here gave price a nice push and then we slam lower, price could retest this level and then continue lower, or it could break it, right? But in this type of climate, these bearish conditions, you want to anticipate levels that could reject, and this is definitely a level that could reject. So see what happens here. TP is, yeah, that's a perfect spot for TP, right at that base here, just in case you see some sell pressure. All right, so first things first, this 15-minute bearish gap was never mitigated, right? Meaning that there was never any interaction at this level. This should create a rejection. Typically, it creates a rejection, right? But when I look at the lower time frame, I'm looking for where we already filled this gap on the 1 minute. So maybe that's enough. Maybe this 1 minute gap is mitigated. But what you want to know is, all right, if we haven't seen much seller activity in this area, you're gonna see a pullback. And then I'm like, all right, where would price pull back? We see that this candle doesn't even have a wick on the bottom of it. 8 minutes left in that. Let's go 10-minute here. So now my eyes go to like, all right, this area right here can be retested. If price wants to be weird, it could definitely just pull back before going higher. 5-minute chart. Yeah, this area right here gets my attention. So I don't want to go break even just yet because price could do that. Ideally, you want to see the same type of delivery that we saw on the way down. You didn't see much pullback. Saw one pullback the entire 200 point, 300 point drop. And because price is printing good structure right at this area here, if we survive the pullback, I'm going to extend my TP because that's telling me that price should begin trending, right? If we fill in this bearish gap, pull back, fail to break, fail to stop us out, and then get back above it, that's telling me that the next gap is up here. So this should be where price is headed. I would love to see price just rip, but we'll probably get a random pullback because of this 5-minute and 15-minute gap here. Decent volume so far. Just waiting on this pullback to see what reaction we get from this 10-minute level down here. So I think it's still too early to go break even. We might get a new 5-minute gap right here, and this could be the area where price wants to pull back. But we should get a pullback, I would say. Like a pullback and then a 1-minute inversion to go higher would be clean. $20 points would be here. 33 points is really what I want. All right, guys. So keeping in mind that, it is Friday, we have this 30-minute candle about to open right now. I'm trying to be patient to see if price is actually gonna, excuse me, fill in this gap right here, this 5-minute gap. All right, we break structure, leave a 5-minute gap. It's probably gonna pull back into this gap. So with that, I kind of want to give it a chance to pull back, similar to this gap, right? Where we saw price left this gap. It was obvious, and if price wanted to fill it in, we would allow it to fill it in so that price could go higher, right? Same thing here, but it is getting a little late. So hopefully we can get a quick gap fill and rejection. If price starts hanging out in this gap too long, or it starts to close through this gap, I'll just exit as soon as I can, just because it's a Friday. So there's no reason to really have too much expectation on price, especially being that we've already sold off a drastic amount, right? So if price is truly bearish, it may want to close down in here today. Let's look at the readings here. Down 1.7%. Everything's pretty much down. So if today's a bearish day, right, then it's probably going to close a red day. Look at the daily candle. Massive daily candle. All right, so we're filling in this gap here. Looks like almost NASDAQ getting close. All right, NASDAQ fills the gap. I'm looking for a quick jab and go. If price hangs out in here too long, I'll just get out because it's likely going to lose that speed, right? We saw some speed coming off this area. Price is trending nicely, but just don't want to get caught in the chop, especially if today's the end of the week, right? So let's see here. Can't complain about this trade though. Every point of interest right now is in profit. So it's just up to us to manage this trade properly so that we don't end up taking a loss here. NASDAQ does fill this gap. ES doesn't, which is a good sign. If we can start making a new high here, that's a good sign that the energy is still strong. We get an SMT gap fill. But decent read, right? You see how we were able to call the bottom on this, where it was pretty scary to try to buy this fall. Like, if you tried to buy anywhere else, you literally got immediately stopped out. Here we flip the EMA. We respect these 4-hour levels. And remember, I said this level right here is going to give rejection. I already knew that we're going to see some issues at this level. But I see the absorption, and I see that there's still a chance that we could break it. TP would be literally... TP1 was where 20 points, the trade pushed up 15 points. So we're just looking to see if there's actually any sense of urgency to continue higher here. But that's my plan. That's my exit plan. If you guys are in a trade, you should definitely consider your exit plan here. You could even get out right now, right? And just take the small win on a Friday. It's not even a small win. That's 12 points, 11 points on the ES. That's a nice trade. I'm just giving price a chance to continue here. That's all. Sometimes it backfires. I know you guys watch me trade. Sometimes I do this and it backfires. It just dumps on me. And I had a chance to close out for 300 bucks. But as I mentioned before, I just been trading way too long to just give up on certain trade ideas. I just let them play out. But I might I might consider getting out of here just so I can enjoy my day. It's a Friday. Don't want to get too caught up on these charts here. But this could be it, man. We got the new 30-minute candle opening. We get a wick lower, nice wick lower. We push into that gap on NASDAQ. And this could be that follow through that we're looking for to send price up to 20 points. So that's all I'm doing here is just giving price a chance to finish the job, bro. Crypto stalling. So I may have to get out of here because you can see the volume dropping on crypto for sure. Nasdaq making a new high yet? No. I may consider taking some partials at this high. It just depends on how price responds, but if it gets there. I hate when price starts moving slow like this. Kind of ruins the the perspective a little bit. Like, is it slowing down because it doesn't want to go any higher, or is it slowing down because it's just a slow type of trade to continue here? So I think I need to search this interest rate situation for Japan. All right. So the Bank of Japan scheduled to meet December 18th and December 19th. So I've been hearing a lot about the Japanese yen interest rates and how those interest rates play a big part in how a lot of the markets operate, right? If those interest rates start to hike, that's usually a really bad sign for almost every economy. And that caught my interest, right? So now, if you take a look, December 18th will be their FOMC, right? You know how America, we had our FOMC December 10th, where our Federal Reserve announced the interest rates. They're going to announce their interest rates December 18th. So that's going to be a major factor. I'll keep my eyes on the lookout for that because if they do raise their rates, that's going to be a bearish type of move for our market. And honestly, I think price should probably range, until we get that data, similar to how price was behaving going into FOMC this week. So today, if that's true, we had a nice sell-off, 930 sold off. Price should rebalance here. I don't think it's crashing just yet. Did Nasdaq take this high yet? Nah. This is just wasting time, man. What do I want to do here? Do I want to just take this? I would be up so much if I started doing that. If I just started getting out when the trade started to waste time, just get out. I don't know, bro. I might just get out. All right, so what I'm gonna do actually is I'm just gonna keep my targets the same. I don't know, bro. I think I need to get out because I haven't had the best luck on these type of trades lately. It's different if, if I hold it and usually it just keeps going. But lately, every time I try to hold a trade, it literally just does not keep going. But in my brain, I'm like, all right, how many times is that gonna happen? It's not gonna happen every time. So I should I should expect for those trades to start going to TP now. Like if the first 10 would turn around and go that way, then eventually they're gonna start going the opposite way towards TP. At least that's how my brain works. Like it's almost like I'm overdue for a really good extension, right? Expansion. Similar to yesterday's trade, right? Yesterday's trade, we held it, and it hit TP. Like, how long is it gonna chop me out of trades? It can't do that every single time. But if you're a statistics guy, chances are it's gonna just chop and come back down. Based on the past 20 or so situations that I've been in like this, it usually just comes back down. I think $300 on a Friday is acceptable. But the hard part for me is I'll be upset if I get out and it just immediately just goes higher. But I think I gotta take it, bro. It's taking too long. Yeah, give me I'll just do it for once, bro. Just for once. Setting my stop at it's gonna take me out, but how many points is this? Oh, there it is. I'm out. That pop right there was crazy, and it's gonna come back down. No, it's not. Wow. I was just about to get out. And there goes TP. That is crazy, yo. I was just see what I mean? It's like it'd be listening to me, bro. All right, I'll take it. There goes 23 points there. Wow. There goes 23 points there. And like I said, yeah, going forward, I will be including these levels because I just want to be more higher time frame based on my bias. And the more we do that, the better these trades are gonna start playing out. Really, really good entry here. Really good. All right, cool. So yeah, let's carry this momentum into next week. 2 wins in a row, 2 winning days in a row. Yesterday was a really nice trade. Caught a buy yesterday, and then here goes today. Let's pick up where we left off. Good timing, really good timing on that pump. It's 1 o'clock and we're out of here. Let me screenshot this. Take a look at next week real quick, and yeah, next week we got no news on Monday. Well, orange news on Monday, but the rest of the week looks pretty good. CPIs on Thursday, really nice. All right, cool. So I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Next week looks pretty good. So we'll take it from there. All right. Full TP, as I mentioned, I wanted 30 points, but I'll take this. 23 points. Really nice. Good momentum. I think price continues higher. That's just my thoughts depending on the volume. But I can't predict volume, so I think this is a beautiful, beautiful exit. And we'll pick up, like I said, on Monday. You guys enjoy the weekend. Take care. If you're in the strategy calls, I will go over the small 4-hour perspective that I want to start using. So that'll give everyone something to back test as well. And as always, take care. God bless. And we'll be back. Catch you guys later.